The Hurricanes wrapped up their third spring practice today. They were in shoulder pads. They didn't have full pads on. I'm expecting them to be in full pads when they come back from spring break, which is on the 21st. So they're gonna have about 10 days off. So today was good. I really wanted to pay attention to the defense during our viewing period, which was about 20 minutes. Once again, 3 periods of action, saw a lot of drills, paid attention to the defensive backs, as well as a little bit of the linebackers, and got to see a little bit of offensive line and defensive line. I'll get into my thoughts on everything that I saw. We also were able to interview 4 players after practice. So just a couple noteworthy injury updates that I just want to provide you guys with, and that's wide receiver Frank Latson. Some people have asked, where has he been? He's dealing with an injury, but he was out here for the 3rd practice, so that was good to see him out here. And also another wide receiver, Michael Redding III. I saw him running routes after practice, catching the ball, and looked good to me. So that's good to see that these guys are doing well. And Coach Cristobal did say he expects all of these guys that are injured out for the spring to be ready for the season, and ultimately that's the most important part, although there are a number of guys out of spring balls. But I just want to make note of those 2 guys in particular. Also, tight end Elijah Arroyo, he had that tough injury last year during the season, but I did see him, kind of throwing some passes to Riley Williams, a new freshman, tight end there. Also saw him on the jugs machine catching some passes, so that was good to see. It's just good seeing Elijah, because I know a lot of people have high hopes for Elijah this upcoming year after Will Mallory moved on to the NFL. So we'll see if Elijah can take that next step. Certainly there's a lot of guys in the tight end room, a very unproven group, highly regarded at times with some of these guys during the recruiting process, but they've got a lot to prove. And even Jaleel Skinner, we are able to see him. I think this is an important spring for Jaleel out here. It's good watching him run some routes. It's also good, I think one thing with Jaleel is just making sure he turns his head properly on some quick routes, getting to the sideline and then getting upfield. I think he could be an asset in the passing game with that. I think he's doing a good job just continuing to work on his technique there. Another couple of guys that I want to make mention, just with this short passing game that I've seen just on these drills. I'll get into some other stuff with the defensive side of the ball, but again, with the offense, I was watching a little bit of the offense and seeing just Brashard Smith, again, catch the ball with short passes, have good footwork and get upfield. I think it's just good to see from him that he also obviously has the potential to have a big season and really grow from what he did last year. So we'll see what kind of steps he makes throughout the spring, but it's good seeing him out here. Xavier Restrepo, another guy in and out of breaks, making good cuts on, out of the line of scrimmage, just on these drills that we're able to see. So just those 2 guys in particular. And obviously these other guys that are out here, I think it's an important spring for all of the wide receivers. If you guys haven't seen yet, definitely check out the video with the wide receiver drills. It gets you guys a close-up view on some of their breaks and catching passes. It's not against the defense, which is unfortunate, but it is what we're able to see. So I just want to make sure that you guys are able to see that, as well as the quarterback video if you haven't seen that yet. All right, so the defensive backs, it was great watching these guys, and the way they break it down is they've got safeties in one group. Cam Kitchens is leading the way there. No surprise that he's first in drills and going through things there. Jaden Harris is a guy to watch for in that safety group, just a guy that played some corner, but he's working out there with that safety group. And then also with the cornerbacks, I was able to watch them as well. They go through different drills, a lot of footwork stuff, a lot of back pedal stuff, obviously. They just kind of have a different approach to maybe certain drills, and you'll get a chance to see all that. But at cornerback, Daryl Porter and also Corey Couch kind of getting those first reps. And one guy that I was able to watch closely that I was really excited to look for, because I'd heard about him and obviously done a video and got some insight on him, but Terry Roberts, a transfer cornerback from Iowa. And one thing I'll say with him, he just looks really smooth out there in terms of either catching the passes or just in and out of his breaks. I thought that was good to see. He's doing well, and we'll see how he does against the offense. And I think we're going to see a lot once they resume after spring ball and get a chance to go against the defense, get in full pads. But we will see how things go moving forward with that. But so far so good in terms of what we've seen out here. We'll see how everything kind of transpires throughout the spring. Still 12 practices to go. Kind of jumping all over the field here with different position groups, but Colby Young spoke to us after practice, along with offensive lineman Matt Lee from UCF, and then Inez Cooper, as well as to Corey Couch. So those 4 players spoke. Definitely check the channel for them. We didn't get a chance to speak to coaches after practice, but I'm looking forward to posting that video for you guys to see. But Colby after practice said he's down to 213 pounds. He was playing about 220 last year, feels faster. Feels like, obviously the ACC is a different conference than JUCO ball, so he looks good, and I think that's a good place for him, just to slim down a little bit, but he feels faster, and I think that's important, and he's certainly looking forward to building off what he did last year, heading into this year, and just have a strong spring. I think it's good for a guy like Colby to be out here, gain some confidence from what he did last year, but also just kind of get better. Kevin Beard, he really likes him. A lot of guys are going to speak highly, I anticipate, speak highly of Coach Beard, their receiver, a guy that's played here, but just very communicative, very loud, very vocal, but very, positive energy type of guy. He's always been that. I've spoken about that before, but just ever since he was a player here, and I remember those days, very competitive, but also very positive mindset type of guy that's been around, the high school ranks and obviously coaching in college. So we're seeing, his imprint. We'll see how it translates, but the wide receivers are certainly a position group to watch for throughout the spring. I think Colby Young is the headliner to pay attention to in terms of, can he take that next step from what he did last year? There's a question during our live thread updates with practices on the website on InsideTheU.com about Cyrus Moss. How's he doing? How's he looking? And to me, at first I said, well, we don't get a chance to see the defensive line very close to us, about 80 yards away down on the other ends of the field. But after practice, I was able to be a little bit closer, and to me, Cyrus looks about the same as what he was when he arrived, or at least last season when I saw him last. So he looks, like he still needs to gain some weight there, and I know that that's a point of emphasis for the coaching staff and for Cyrus as well moving forward. And as far as where Cyrus fits on the depth chart, to me, with the defensive ends, the way it looks right now, 3 guys clearly stand out, with Akeem Messidor coming back after a good year last year, Nigel Kelly looking for a breakout year after what he did as a freshman, and then also Jafari Harvey is injured right now, but he's a guy that's played a lot of football for the Hurricanes. So I think it's those 3 guys, and I think the rest of the group, I think everyone else is just competing to be in that 4th spot, whether it's Chance Williams with the experience he's gotten, maybe a Ruben Bain, maybe one of these other young guys that steps up, Jaden Wayne. I know you guys are excited about. It's good seeing him out here, but we'll see, kind of who cements themselves as that number 4 defensive end on the depth chart. And certainly, they've got some options with the defensive tackles if they want to move some guys out based on their size, if they feel like they want to go with a little bit more of a 3 defensive tackle look, combining with just 1 defensive end. It just depends what they want to do. And Corey Couch said after practice, somebody asked him, a reporter asked him about how things are looking, or maybe with the scheme, and Coach Guidry actually mentioned it too. Right now, they're really just focused on doing a lot of base stuff and finding out. Coaches are trying to find out what exactly the players are all about. So it's not a lot about scheme at this point. Certainly they're installing defenses and offenses right now, but they're really just trying to figure out exactly who these guys are. And I think player development is always big in spring football, and I think that's what you're going to see, throughout the spring. And I think that's what you should be looking for. Individuals, who's really going to step up, who does well out here. And I'm really going to be paying attention to who's out here, who's getting all these reps. Again, Frank Ladson missed the first couple days, but it's good that he's back out here, and hopefully he can finish out the spring and have a good productive spring with his development after what he did in his first year at Miami. But I think it's just important for a lot of these guys to get back out here. I think it's going to get really ramped up after spring break, and once they get going, because it's 3 practices a day, 3 practices a week for the rest of the time until the spring game on April 14th. So it's going to get ramped up. They're going to get in full pads, and I know we're going to be able to find out a little bit more about these players, so definitely stay tuned to the channel. I appreciate everybody. Defensive backs video is coming up next. I'm going to see what else I got with the linebackers, watch them a little bit. It was just good seeing Wesley kind of move around a little bit, and also getting eyes on Francisco Maui. So, Francis's brother. I do want to mention with Francis, I should have mentioned this earlier, but he got some first team reps today there at right tackle, and I feel like that is an important thing to do. I also was able to watch a little bit of some one-on-one blocking with defensive linemen. It was really hard to see because, again, we're at the end of the end zone on one end of the field, and they're about at the 10-yard line or so, clear out the other end. So it is a little difficult, a lot of people in the way. I'm thinking about posting the video if you guys want to see it, but just know it's not clear. I'm not right up there, but I was told today that we're actually going to be able to get a chance to be close to the offensive and defensive lines when they come back from spring break. So I'm looking forward to that. As get some good video up close with these guys. It really is difficult to see them from that far away, and also too, we're not able to see stretching. So hopefully we're able to do that, where we're able to be up close to those guys a little bit more. So especially the new guys, it's always good to see the new guys, what they look like, and and kind of assess how they're doing and moving around with their certain drills. So definitely appreciate everybody. Once again, drop in the comments, defensive backs now, what other groups do you want me to focus on that I haven't focused on, or maybe even talked about? There's guys that I haven't talked about. I know running backs I haven't spoken about much at all. I haven't watched them nearly as much as I'd like. All eyes on Don Chaney Jr. if he can have a productive spring after dealing with injuries these last couple years. So we'll see if Don can have a productive spring. All, with pads on, it's really big for their running backs. Henry Parrish is still out here, obviously, and they've got a couple new guys still waiting to join the team in the summer. So anyways, thanks again for watching. Hopefully have a good rest of the day, and take care.